Good evening, faithful. Here we are celebrating the 49ers win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 35-7 with a convincing victory that could have been marred, still could be, I suppose, with some significant injury news. However, the early indications are that it may not be quite so serious for Deebo Samuel. Quite honestly, that was my biggest concern coming out here. For those of you that watch live, I would appreciate it if you could share any updates that do come across about Deebo Samuel. Amazing that the 49ers have continued their win streak here against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, beating them extremely convincingly. It was a shellacking in this one. I will say, I do believe the loss of Vita Vea early for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers opened up the opportunity for the San Francisco 49ers to come in and whoop some ass, and we were able to do just that. Brock Purdy looking like, I don't know, the second coming of Joe Cool. I don't want to get ahead of myself in that regard. I still believe that it's early, still believe he will have some tests ahead of him. A short week to prepare going into Seattle. Very tough place to play. A division opponent, Pete Carroll, you know he's going to try and stymie the young rookie. But hey, when you're the first rookie to put down Tom Brady in your first start, that seems pretty special. That is a phenomenal outcome for Brock Purdy. Love to see his parents there celebrating in the stands. And again, the only downfall of this game was going to be the loss of Deebo Samuel. And the early reports are indicating that it could be an ankle sprain and not something that is season ending. So I am keeping my fingers crossed on that one. I do want to call out Randall Riley here coming in, sneakerhead here on the channel, saying Odell Beckham now an option with the Deebo injury. This is where my head first went when Deebo went down, that you've got to attempt to fill that production because this squad feels like they still have the talent to make a run in the playoffs. And I will tell you what, as devastating as that injury would be, as deflating as it might feel for the fan base and the team as a whole, I look at the rest of this team and I have to say to myself, they're capable of continuing to compete so long as this defense is playing at the level they are. And as long as Brock Purdy continues to look like a very calm, collected, confident rookie. Eric Schultz coming in to say hello. James is reacting to Brock Purdy's game, calling him the GOAT already. E. Kim, sneakerhead here on the channel, says, hey, Rob, Kyle needs to stop calling running plays to non-running backs. I'll take this moment to speak to that. I see the special nature of this offense being what Kyle Shanahan has done with some of his players. And some of that is non-traditional use of Deebo Samuel as a running back. And in order for that to be as successful as it is, you have to actually use him as a running back. Again, going back to the Lance injury, the Deebo injury, both on tackles. I understand that they're both into the middle of the defense, but when you have positive outcomes from those plays, we don't have the same vitriol for the play call. So I tend to think that's hindsight being 2020, and you can't look back on a fluke injury and really assign that to someone else. So I just disagree with this, but I know you are not alone, Ekim, in people faulting Shanahan for running Lance into the middle and running Deebo into the middle. Randall Riley coming in to gloat, and I couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier to admit when I was slightly wrong about anything. And at the beginning of the year, when we chose to keep Purdy, I thought it was an inconsequential decision. Did not believe that would come into play. Barely gave as much credit to the signing of Jimmy Garoppolo as that was ended, as important as that ended up being. Absolutely, Brock Purdy is shining right now. And Randall Riley has been talking about it for some time. Terry Wright, I didn't see the end of the game. I will watch on SportsCenter. Terry asking, big win. Did Brady shake the young man's hand? I don't know, but that's a great question. You would hope that he would. Raphael 5629er sneakerhead here on the channel coming in to say what's up to me, the sneakerheads, and everyone. Peter Lee commenting, I wish Shanny would have pulled the starters out as early as possible when it was a blowout already. It was, but Brady and those starters were in until the end. It was over so early, it felt like in this one. You can't possibly take your starters out in the third quarter. Sometime in the fourth, you have to. The 49ers did. Was it early enough? It's debatable. I mean, Shanahan is still living with 28-3. So you've got to remember that. Chris Royal coming in just to celebrate. I am there with you. And Thomas B, yes, Purdy is unbelievable. The defense in this one, man, just playing lights out with so much heart. But the young rookie on offense, just distributing the ball, ended up with 2 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. He's got wheels too. You love to see that little bit of mobility that you certainly weren't getting with Jimmy Garoppolo. Nathan Banks coming in. Hey, Rob, what a win for our team. I hope Debo will be okay moving forward, but Brock Purdy, now that's a real quarterback. He looks phenomenal to this point. He looks phenomenal. Rams ain't running back a damn thing. Sneakerhead here on the channel says, great to see you, Rob. Great to see you as well. Good to be back. Truth told, not sold, says he was awful Purdy. Yes, he was. It was real Purdy. Michael coming in to contribute. Hey, Debo avoided a major ankle injury. I heard it. BR. Who's BR? Who's reporting BR? That's my initial reports that I was reading on Twitter as well, though, that it could be he avoided serious injury. And yes, the 49ers now go into Seattle on Thursday night for a chance to clinch the NFC West. That is a fact. The Seahawks lost to the Panthers today. I called it out on the Wednesday show. Didn't think it was going to happen because Carolina hasn't won a road game since November of last year. But they go into Seattle and they win. That means we go into Seattle, and Christopher points it out. If we win on Thursday, we win the NFC West. He says, what's that? Another chance to win the West in Seattle? Turn it up. Yes. Yes. It is going to be a phenomenal Thursday night football game. Spy Danger, thank you so much for doing the good deed of encouraging those that are watching to hit the like button and continue throwing it in the chat because I want to bring your comments to the front of the line. Chris Royal coming in with the super chat. Purdy train heating up. Man, he was just so efficient in this one. 16-21, 185 yards, 8.8 per, 2 touchdowns, no picks, no sacks, save for the first one that got offset by penalty. I will say we were the beneficiaries of like 4 calls going our way in the first half that really did change the initial trajectory of this game. The Niners took advantage of that trajectory, put their foot on the Bucs' necks, and never took it off. The aggression was at full tilt in this one, both on offense and defense. You could see the frustration for Tom Brady. I thought that was a spectacular effort. All right. We've got Peter Lee coming in. Rob, hopefully the injury bug is not going to bite us. Jimmy last week, Debo this week. Oof. Hopefully Debo's is not serious. Hoping it's not serious. J. Cruz 49er, why in the F are we running our best players up the middle, up 21-0? What in the actual F? Again, I go back to this one. I actually disagree on it. Up 21-0 against Tom Brady and the Bucs in the first half. That's still very much a game. And you can't, unfortunately, guard against all injuries. I understand the frustration. I think it's easier for me to stomach if your stance is that, hey, Debo just shouldn't be a running back. But so long as you view Debo's wide back, position as a viable one that makes this offense that much harder to stop, then those runs into the middle have to happen to set up the defense for some of those game-changing plays. I get the frustration. Don't get me wrong. And I think that you have to run him into the teeth of the defense at times. James coming in. Rob, you're the best. Thank you. E. Kim says, Rob, aren't running backs paid to run the ball up the middle? Yes. Debo got paid as a wide back, and wide backs are paid to do it as well. I get it. I get the criticism, but again, if you appreciate all the specialness of what Debo Samuel brings to this offense and the crazy ways in which he's used, you have to set that up with some of those runs. Peter Lee says, I don't understand why Shanny likes to call runs for McCaffrey up the gut in the middle. Whenever I see McCaffrey go between the tackles, I always hold my breath and heart is beating. That's true, but one of his touchdowns today was on that same type of run. CJ Gray, same stance, 21-0. Why run a play with Debo up the middle? I get the frustration, but I've got to stay on my stance of feeling like it's a part of this offense. Lycan 4647 says, with this defense, the 49ers can beat anyone. They are without a doubt Super Bowl contenders. That's how I'm feeling. With the number of skill position players that are available, thereby somewhat shielding you from any one injury completely derailing the team. Looking at, an offense that really just needs efficient quarterback play to make it run. Brock Purdy cooking at higher than average efficiency, in particular for a rookie. This defense sets us up to really contend with anybody. This feels like a special team, special unit. Chris Ray coming in says, prayers for Debo. Brock looked great out there. Yes, absolutely prayers up for Debo. Hoping that is a non-serious ankle injury, as has been reported towards the end of the game and what I saw prior to coming on the live here. Leo R, sneakerhead here on the channel, says, can't stay. We'll be watching the recording, but what an enjoyable win. It truly was. The legend of BCB will continue to grow. Peter Lee, yes, we do have to thank the Panthers for ripping apart the Sea Chickens at their chicken's nest. Yes, the Seahawks went down to the Panthers today, again, setting up the 49ers to win the NFC West with a simple victory against Seattle on Thursday, with everybody freaking watching. That is going to be spectacular. Love it. Yes, Jason Walsh says, yes, that Seahawks loss makes it even sweeter, doesn't it? Biggie DJ 1130, bang, bang. Beast Mode Gaming sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob, damn big loss with Debo. Hopefully it's not a major injury. Yes. But we do have, a lot of people that feel that way about Shanahan. James coming in, Debo injury, head coach's fault, calling a stupid play. Again, I disagree with the take, but I understand the frustration. Lapaka Lolo coming in. I like this kid so far. Seattle is next on a short week. This is another big test. He passed the first test coming in, looking prepared, coming off of the bench. Passed the second test, preparing for a top 10 defense against the greatest quarterback of this modern generation in Tom Brady on the other side of the ball. He has passed both of those. It's going to be a tough environment to play in Seattle, a very tough opponent, division game, going to be a physical matchup, yet another test. I think he's going to pass it yet again. Beast Mode Gaming sneakerhead here on the channel says, Rob, damn, Purdy looks really good, doesn't he? This is a conundrum. Big Daddy Rob, if Brock takes us to the Super Bowl and wins it, what do you think we should do with Lance and Jimmy? Jimmy, I think, will leave in free agency, but you're going to have a quarterback controversy if that's the case. Raphael 562 Niners with the super chat says, on my way home back to LA, it was worth it seeing the Niners win and seeing Purdy's first NFL start and win. Raphael 562 Niners, enjoy. That was a phenomenal game. Emmanuel Sartori coming in. Hey, Rob, I finally made it to a post-game video after months and months. Glad to see you're still keeping up the good work. Hit the like button, everyone. Rob deserves it. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. Russ is coming in rhyming. Hey, Rob, Brock can throw the rock. Yes, he can. Jungle Karma, great perspective, Rob. Why, thank you. I appreciate it. Kurt, I agree. He says, Rob, this team is the most interesting team in sports every week. They are fun to watch. So fun to watch. Big Daddy came in just to drop the super chat. Much appreciated with that. Comes in with the question after that. Rob, what are your thoughts if Brock keeps it going and we make it all the way? What do we do with Lance and Jimmy? So this is to the earlier question. So again, I think that you definitely have Jimmy headed out the door. That seems most likely. If he's not going to require surgery and he will be healthy in the offseason, some team will regret their decision not to sign him last offseason after seeing him play well this year. If he has to have surgery at some point, doing the whole no surgery, then surgery thing again, maybe teams shy away and you could get him back on a one-year deal. Then you have a true conundrum between Lance, who you've already spent 3 first-round picks to draft, versus Purdy, where you spent a 7th rounder at the very last pick. But that's the sunk cost fallacy. So you have to ignore that. You have to ignore what cost you paid for each of those individuals and simply play the one that gives you the better chance to win. If you have Brock Purdy take the 49ers to and win the Super Bowl, and he plays a convincing role in that. In other words, it's not that he throws 0 touchdowns and 1 pick, but the Niners manage to win anyway. If he is contributing, as he is obviously contributing right now, I think you have to give him a shot to keep that starting role. You have to give him a big shot to do it. Alan Eliza, Sneakerhead here on the channel coming in. Rob Shue, what a great game today. I think we win on Thursday also. It would be sweet, very sweet to own the NFC West after week 15. That would be spectacular. Coasting in, worried about that. We're only a game or a half a game back from the Vikings in that we own the tiebreaker right now with our record in the NFC. I think that we're 7-2 in the NFC, and they may be 6-3 or somewhere around that range. Anyway, our NFC winning percentage is higher, which would be the tiebreak in seeding against the Vikings. So the number 2 seed is within our grasp. The NFC West title is within our grasp. We just need to keep on winning. J. Cruz 49er, this is back to the conversation around Debo, which is a very reasonable one to have. Says, Rob, I get that Debo was signed to be a wide back. Coaching staff needs to protect these players against themselves. Cannot have our coaches making calls that hurt our chances to blow the season. I agree, but if your contention is that Debo should never be run into the teeth of the defense, that's where I don't agree with it. And he only had 4 carries today. I realize that he was injured and therefore was out. It's fair to assume he may have gotten a carry or 2 more. I'm pretty comfortable with the usage of Debo to this point in the season. I didn't think that it had gotten out of hand. The player we seem to lean on the most is certainly Christian McCaffrey. I think that this is Shanahan's offense, and we all love it when it's working spectacularly. It comes with some cost. The other angle just being that this is football, and any play, a fluke injury can occur. In both of those cases, and in Jimmy's this year as well, when someone steps on your foot and that breaks a bone, when you're tackled and a foot gets pinned underneath and therefore you tweak your ankle, to me that's just football. And it's a small sample size, so a couple of injuries can make it feel like really awkward luck, really terrible luck. And don't get me wrong, the 49ers have had more than their fair share of terrible luck. I just am not willing to, personally, to turn around and blame Shanahan for it. But I get the criticism. I understand why people are upset. Sean 9519ers coming in to do a victory lap. He called the 31-6 score on our program with Jack Thursday. Jack chuckled. I scoffed a bit. We thought, no, it'll be a low-scoring affair. Tampa Bay's top 10 defense surely will flummox the rookie a little bit. Still, Jack and I both predicted a win coming out of this one. Sean much closer to the end result. He says, I told you and Jack, 31-6. You guys told me I'm crazy. I mean, we'll still call you crazy, but you were definitely right on this one, Sean. No, absolutely. Giving you your credit. You deserve it, my friend. It was a good prediction. Chris Royal, Sneakerhead here on the channel, coming in with the super chat. Hawks in Seattle is the final exam. He passes that one. Yeah, I think I have to stop saying these are tests, at least until we get into the postseason. And who knows? Maybe we're sitting there with a question mark at quarterback, and we've got a little quarterback controversy then too. It's going to be fascinating. So much good television with this squad. It is just spectacular. All right. This one, you got to listen carefully because this one doesn't get dirty, but it comes close. Rob, Purdy rocked out with his Brock out. Niner gang faithful to the Bay. All right. Romeo Rich says, I'm critical against Kyle Shanahan, but not his fault, guys. You know, a 21-point cushion isn't usually a safe bet. Yeah, and Kyle said 28-3 was still very much sitting there in a memory. Yes, it was. James Schaefer, Sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob, good to catch you here. This is definitely goodbye to Jimmy. We are in good hands with Purdy and Lance. Really enjoyed this game. It was a phenomenal game. And Some of the shout outs to see Eric Armstead and the wreck that he causes in there and the way in which he frees up other players. He is a phenomenal contributor on defense. Jimmy Ward really playing lights out in this one. Ray McCloud has really kept up the momentum as a great punt returner, continuing to make the first guy miss. It has been special to watch. Hey, we got the prediction right about Jordan Mason getting more than 10 touches and averaging more than 5 yards per carry. I think he ended up with 11 touches, averaging 5.1 yards per carry. That prediction came true. We were talking about that yesterday on the Sneakerhead call-in program. Great to see him just getting those hard-earned runs at the end of a game, salting away a game for Kyle Shanahan and this 49ers squad underneath Shanahan has been something occasionally suspect. Feels like we may have someone that's capable of coming in and getting those tough yards at the end of a game. When you're in that 4-minute drill and you're really trying to churn clock, man, would that be helpful for this offense to have a back like that. Emmanuel coming in saying 49ers MVP of the season is DeMeco Ryans. Heck of a season as a coordinator. Still, our performance versus Kansas City has me worried. Our first-ranked defense can crumble anytime. That's definitely a matchup concern. I had the same fears against Miami. And if we had not rattled Tua the way in which we did, because I'm taking credit for Tua's inaccuracy against Miami. I'm not one of these people that says, oh, well, Tua was just off that day. Yeah, he was off because the defense was in his face. He was off because the defensive line had him moving around and constantly uncomfortable. So I'm taking credit for that. But when you have a guy like Mahomes, who even in the face of pressure is wrist flicking passes to God knows who, he's tossing them. Like, did you see the game today with Mahomes? He just continues to do stupid stuff. And that type of quarterback is really someone to worry about. I see Kansas City and Buffalo. I tell you what, if they could get there with Justin Herbert, I see Justin Herbert as another one of those quarterbacks. There are quarterbacks that I fear, and it is Herbert. It is Josh Allen, and it is Patrick Mahomes. It's not necessarily those teams. It's that individual signal caller and their ability to find the weakness in the defense and exploit it. Now, I do believe the game against Kansas City got out of hand because people began to see that it was out of hand. Football can be that type of snowball effect where it builds upon itself. Once you are out of it, it's hard to motivate to make those thudding tackles. But this defense in the playoffs, I'm telling you. Cowboy Angel says, bang, bang, Purdy gang. Yes, sir. Beast Mode Gaming coming in saying, Rob, it's football. It's unfortunate. Same with Trey and Jimmy. Prayers for them. That's the stance that I fall into. It is very unfortunate, and it happens. Joey Nichols says, Rob, what do you think about the depth of the interior defensive line in the light of Givens and Hyder injuries? I'm hoping that Kevin Givens and Kerry Hyder, who both went out of the game today, are not seriously injured because you have not had the return of Javon Kinlaw. Hassan Ridgeway is already out. You've got a short week. The anticipation that any of these guys would turn around and play seems slight. I would absolutely expect the 49ers to either elevate someone or be signed, both elevate someone from practice squad and be signing someone as well. But you have to look at the 49ers balancing that IR, the remaining IR spots. They have earmarked the final two return from IR designations for Kinlaw and Elijah Mitchell. If they don't put anyone else on IR, that's fine. But as soon as they start putting anyone on IR, either that person is lost or one of those two that they had earmarked is not coming back. And eventually, through attrition, if you lose enough players, you will need to put someone on IR just to get healthy bodies back onto the roster to have enough people to suit up on Thursday. So this could end up forcing the 49ers' hand. And you wonder, with the way that Purdy is performing, if at some point they'll just be comfortable putting Jimmy onto IR. That could be an interesting move that would signal, hey, that's it. It is Purdy and Josh Johnson from here on out. Romeo Rich says, Glock Purdy. Everybody's celebrating Niners, baby. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Steven Saunders says, Rob, you and Niner football in December are synonymous. Yes. Hey, it's what we do. It's what we do when it is critical football down the stretch, trying to get into the playoffs. That is what we love here at Rob Shoe's channel. As faithful, that is what we do. All right, Romeo Rich says, Rob, what can we expect for Lance if Brock Purdy keeps this up? Quite honestly, like I said earlier, I think you have to look at the sunk cost fallacy and just play whomever is better. I am still very much a believer in Trey Lance. I love the skill set that I saw on tape. And if you continue to see this success and it propels you into the playoffs, deep into the playoffs, to the Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl, if those things happen, it complicates the decision immensely. Cameron Winter says, hey, Rob, brand new to the channel. Absolutely love the stream. Agree with you on the Debo injury take. However, I think it's disgusting leaving Bosa and the starters in up 35 late in the game. Welcome to the channel, first and foremost. That, to me, feels a little more of an area I'm willing to criticize. I get leaving Bosa and other starters in there into the fourth quarter. This is Tom Brady. I get Bosa wants his sack title. You know, he's pushing for the 49ers sack title. He's within reach of a couple of huge games of the NFL sack title. So I understand why he might want to be out there, but to the point of coaches needing to hold back players from hurting themselves, yes, in that case, mid fourth quarter, you really got to try to get all your starters out of there. I understand you can't do it in the third. You got Tom Brady. You're nervous. This one, to me, is the bigger criticism than the Debo injury because we're still in the second quarter at that point. Absolutely. Beast Mode Gaming. Rob, high ankle sprain with Debo, not major per Shanny. This is the news that we have been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. This is absolutely what makes us feel great about this victory. This is now a phenomenal victory because we don't have to worry about the loss of Debo Samuel. I am absolutely ecstatic with that. Vincent says, with Debo escaping major injury, they should rest him on Thursday night. I think you probably do because even if it wasn't a major injury, it sure was an injury that took him out of this one. 4 days until we are back out there Thursday. It's on turf. On top of that, I agree. You got to hold out Debo on Thursday night, no matter how important that one is. Anthony Jackson saying Greenlaw is a monster. He is. He finished with what? 15, 16 tackles, an interception, some other stat. It was a hell of a game for Big Play Dre. David W. coming in with the super chat. Big hit on Purdy on the Brandon Ayuk touchdown. Was a really good throw considering the defender in his face. What's the word on Debo? Just got that word a moment ago that it is, according to Shanahan, he avoided serious injury. It is an ankle sprain, and we will get updates on that. So it is not a season ender, according to the post-game presser. That is huge, huge news. And yes, some, let's see, this is just a little bit of perspective that I'll take in here from Scott saying high ankle sprains are usually 4 to 6 weeks, grade 1 to 2, that grade 3 and 4, is likely surgery. That is common. The 4 to 6 window for the high ankle sprains, very common. Occasionally you'll see a player like Trent Williams did fight back early. That's rough though. Ideally, you want to give him those full weeks to rest up. Jason Walsh, yes, we did. Man, we dominated them. We did dominate the Bucs. It was spectacular. It was the kind of game that I needed. Christian McCaffrey continues to be a phenomenal addition for this team. I don't think you can question what the 49ers gave up to get him. You could say it wasn't enough. Obviously, the pick that they used to take Brock Purdy was a genius move by the 49ers. Let's see if 20 years from now we're saying it was even smarter than Brady there in the 6th round. I know it's too early to be talking about that, but when you come in and you're the first rookie to lay Brady down to sleep, hey, you get some chatter like maybe you are the second coming of that man. It is going to be a good week celebrating this one. I wanted to make sure and get on to do a little bit of celebration in here. Sean 951 Niners coming in with our last super chat here. Sneakerhead here on the channel says, Rob, win Thursday, then rest every starter you can the next 3 games. We're built to win in Minnesota, Dallas, Tampa Bay. We don't need home games. Get healthy and see Philadelphia. That's reasonable logic there. I would love to have a couple of home games at Levi's Stadium. I don't care where the games are in the playoffs. I will be there. That is a fact. The game against Seattle, it's looking like I may not be able to make it up there. I'm going to do my best to try, but it doesn't look good. Some people will breathe a sigh of relief in that. But this was a phenomenal win. I'm glad to come on here and celebrate it with all of you. Do me that favor and hit that like button on your way out so that more faithful can come in and celebrate this victory. Watch this video and tune in next time for another fantastic celebration. I'm telling you, Charles coming in, Sneakerhead here on the channel says, who is this kid? I don't know, but he's a baller. He is a baller. He is poised. He is confident. And he seems to know where to go with the football at the right times. Put pressure in his face. He is unscathed. Remarkable. It's not enough to convince me that it will be this way going forward. But I agree. I was texting with my father around this one. He said it. It's enough for me to say this kid has something special. You have to admit that, regardless of where it goes from here, to step in and do what he has done in his first couple of games here. He is special. All right, I will be back on this week, breaking down the game, celebrating the win. I appreciate all of you for being here. I look forward to talking with you yet again in the very near future. Enjoy this win. Celebrate tonight. Make sure that you are cheersing your loved ones there. Fellow faithful, I look forward to being back with you all. Cheers, faithful.